जीवन्मुक्तिप्रदं देवं क्षमापूर्णं जगद्गुरुं वन्दे परमहंसाख्यं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतं। जीवन्मुक्तिप्रदं देवं क्षमापूर्णं जगद्गुरुं वन्दे परमहंसाख्यं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्। आनन्दानुभवास्वादं सर्वरोगनिवारकं वन्दे पापविनाशक्तं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्। आनन्दानुभवास्वादं सर्वरोगनिवारकं वन्दे पापविनाशक्तं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्। नित्यमुक्तं निर्विकल्पं ध्यानलोकप्रदीपकम्।
పరమహంస నిత్యానంద ఈ శతాబ్దపు మరువలేని పోలికలేని ఒక ఆధ్యాత్మిక శక్తి, ఒక అంతర్జాతీయ సాంఘిక ఆధ్యాత్మిక ప్రభంజనాన్ని స్థాపించిన ఒక అద్భుత శక్తి, వైదిక ధర్మాన్ని పునరుద్ధరించడానికి ఉద్భవించిన ఒక చైతన్య శక్తి. ఆయన అతి పవిత్రమైన తిరువణ్ణామలై క్షేత్రంలో జన్మించారు. ఒక యోగిగా జన్మించి తనలో సహజంగానే పొంగిపొర్లే ఆధ్యాత్మికతను కోట్ల మందికి పంచుతూ స్ఫూర్తినిచ్చే ఒక అమోఘ శక్తి. అతి పురాతనమైన యోగా విద్యలో ప్రావీణ్యం కలిగి ఆధ్యాత్మిక శాస్త్రాన్ని క్షుణ్ణంగా పరిశోధన చేసిన ఒక మహాద్భుతమైన అంతఃప్రపంచపు పరిశోధకులు, ఆత్మజ్ఞానాన్ని ప్రసాదించే గురువులు. ప్రతి సంవత్సరం పరమహంస నిత్యానంద ఆయన జ్ఞానామృతాన్ని, ఆనందం వెదజల్లే ఆయన చిరునవ్వుని, తిరుగులేని ఆయన దీక్ష యొక్క శక్తిని 1 కోటికి పైగా ఉన్న ఆయన శిష్యులకు పంచుతున్నారు. ఇప్పుడు పరమహంస నిత్యానంద మీరు జీవన్ముక్తులుగా జీవించటానికి తోడ్పడే పరిష్కారాలను మీకు అందజేస్తున్నారు. ఒక మరువలేని ఆధ్యాత్మిక అనుభవం కొరకు మమ్మల్ని వెంటనే సంప్రదించండి.
వందే సనాతనం పుణ్యం నిత్యానందాయ స్వాగతం. సర్వధర్మ ప్రణేతారం సచ్చిదానంద రూపిణం వందే సనాతనం పుణ్యం నిత్యానందాయ స్వాగతం. వేద వేదాంత సంవేద్యం దేవదేవీ స్వరూపిణం వందే వటపలాశిస్థం.
Normal man, by his very existence, he doesn't feel responsible even for his own breath, his own thinking, his own actions. By the very existence, enlightened being feels responsible for the whole. You feel responsible for the whole. Bhagavan is straight away hitting Arjuna. He is giving a straight command. He says, come on, enter into the battle. It's time. You delayed for a long time. We had a chat for quite a long time. Whether it is junky things or spiritual things, chat is a chat is a chat, which has gone for too long. Arjuna's dumbness is not related to brain, it is related to mind. He is able to do so many things when it comes to his self, but here he assumes voluntarily this so-called confusion. Arjuna is not innocent, he is not struggling. Be very clear, he is really intelligent guy. He suddenly started thinking he is doing a big favor to Sri Krishna by fighting. When Krishna was showing so much of responsibility into the whole action of war, Arjuna started having doubt. Oh, this war is more important to this fellow Krishna than to me. Come on, maybe then now I can slack, hang. Just because I show responsibility does not mean I am going to be benefited by what I am doing. Just because Krishna showed responsibility with the whole war, don't think Krishna is going to be benefited by what he is doing. Showing responsibility is his quality. By his very frequency, by his very existence, by his very presence, he is responsible for everything happening. A common mind always judges, oh, if this fellow is feeling so much responsible, if he is running so much, so fast, then there must be some expectation for him from this action than for me. Suddenly, Arjuna got into the cunning mood. How Arjuna felt. Because Krishna takes more responsibility, maybe beneficial for him. Let him do, why me? Dwarka, or it did not happen for other countries. Even though all the 54 deshas, all the 54 settlements of those days joined the war, taking one side or the other, it happened mainly for Indraprastha. The fight is who will become owner of Indraprastha, the present New Delhi. Maybe Arjuna started feeling, if this fellow is so active, giving such a sharp strategy, then there must be some vested interest. This fellow must be having something in return. He must be gaining something. The mind built on unconsciousness, mind built on laziness, is more dangerous than any other demon. For Arjuna's welfare, the poor Krishna has to be sitting and talking so many logical, philosophical things. I think now, even Krishna is running out of patience. That is why he comes straight to the instruction. It's in the whole 700 verses. Bhagavan is coming to the straight instructions only 7 times. 700 verse. Only 7 times he is commanding Arjuna. All the 693 verses, he is only philosophically requesting, convincing, inspiring, encouraging. And after giving Vishwarupa Darshana,
కల్పతరు అద్భుతమైన ఆరోగ్యాన్ని ప్రసాదించే దీవెనలను అందుకోండి. అన్ని రకాల అనారోగ్యాలకు గల మూల కారణాలను తొలగించండి. మీలోని శక్తిని 1300% పెంచండి. కల్పతరు అనే ఈ ఒక్కరోజు కార్యక్రమం మీ అనారోగ్యాన్ని తొలగించే శక్తివంతమైన కార్యక్రమం. ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొని ధ్యానం మరియు దీక్ష యొక్క శక్తిని పొందండి. మీలోని కుండలిని శక్తిని మేల్కొల్పి మీ శారీరక మానసిక ఆరోగ్యాన్ని మెరుగుపరిచే అమోఘమైన కార్యక్రమం కల్పతరు. ప్రతి వారాంతములో కల్పతరు కార్యక్రమం బిడిది ఆశ్రమంలో నిర్వహించబడును. మమ్మల్ని సంప్రదించవలసిన చిరునామా నిత్యానంద ధ్యానపీఠం, నిత్యానంద నగర్, బిడది 562109, బెంగళూరు. ఫోన్ చేయవలసిన నంబరు 095500000550 లేదా 096185190701. మా వెబ్సైట్ www.nithyananda.org.
even after the 11th chapter, showing as an experience of Vishwarupa Darshana to Arjuna, he has to go on, justify, philosophize, encourage, inspire. Hats off to Krishna. Amazing. See, a spiritual personality is never accepted usually as a social leader. A social leader is never accepted as a spiritual personality. Shiva is never accepted as a social leader. He is a spiritual personality. Same way there are millions of social leaders, never accepted as a spiritual personality. Because by the nature, both of them are two different jobs. But Krishna is the first and foremost master who has been respected as a highest spiritual personality, the greatest social leader. I don't know how he was able to manage both. It is not an easy joke to combine the personality of social and spiritual. Bhagavan has successfully done it. Sri Krishna has successfully done it. This guy has to show his Vishwarupa. After showing Vishwarupa, he has to go on philosophizing 650 verse. I tell you, God, nobody else can be a social leader like him. You cannot expect this from Shiva. Straight, he is giving 112 techniques in 110 sutras. The whole Shiva Sutra, 112 technique, but in only 110 sutras. He put 2 technique in 1 sutra. You know, in this whole Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses, only 7 times he is giving this command. Just 7 times he is saying, enter into the battle. Bhagavan has a tremendous compassion to Arjuna. He does not want to leave Arjuna and do his mission. If you look deeply, all the breakthrough in the whole Mahabharata war, Bhishma dying, Drona dying, Karna dying, all the big breakthrough, Duryodhana dying, everything clearly executed Sri Krishna. Not a single breakthrough is by Arjuna. And even single breakthrough missing would have made the whole thing tragedy. End would have been tragic, terrible. This fellow has taken the vow, this Arjuna. Every breakthrough is by Bhagavan. If Bhishma was not killed, whole Pandavas would have been destroyed. If Drona was not killed, the whole Pandavas would have been destroyed. If Jayadratha was not killed, the whole thing would have been a mess. If Karna was not killed, the whole thing would have been mess. How many dangers Bhagavan has made Arjuna pass through so easily. Krishna is the ultimate example of unclutched patience. Shiva can teach only to Devi who doesn't question. No, throughout the Shiva Sutra, she is not opening her mouth at all. The only woman on the planet Earth, just listening, never talking to the husband. Not even one question. Anyhow, no one can exhibit such tremendous patience like Bhagavan. Sri Krishna, almost 650 verses, convincing, philosophizing, inspiring, only 7 times giving the command, do it.
ఒక అవతార పురుషుని దివ్య సలహాను నేరుగా పొందాలనుకుంటున్నారా? ఇప్పుడు మీకు పరమహంసతో ముఖాముఖి.
నిత్యానంద హియర్.
పరమహంస నిత్యానంద మరొక్కసారి పోలిక లేని ఒక విభిన్నమైన కానుకను ప్రపంచానికి అందచేస్తున్నారు. ఆయన ఇప్పుడు ప్రతిరోజు ఉదయం ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారమయ్యే సత్సంగంలో మీ ప్రశ్నలకి జవాబు ఇవ్వడానికి సిద్ధముగా ఉన్నారు.
మీకు న్యాయం అవుతుంది, న్యాయం అవుతుంది. No, you ask anything you want in your life. Ask me any boon you want.
ఉదయం 8 గంటలకు మా నంబరు 08027279999కి ఫోన్ చేసే అదృష్టవంతులకు ఆయనతో నేరుగా మాట్లాడే దివ్యమైన అవకాశం దక్కుతుంది. మరియు ఉదయం ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారమయ్యే సత్సంగం ntv.nithyananda.orgలో చూడగలరు.
Bhagavan has a clear goal, deadline. Not even deadline, death line. But showing tremendous passions of philosophizing, inspiring. Only when he runs out of patience, he makes one command. Sometimes, based on the thickness of the logic, only the answers are given. Bhagavan loses, runs out of patience, commands Arjuna. But I tell you, that 7 slokas where he is commanding is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, where his very being is straight away landing on Arjuna. If you ask me the essence of Bhagavad Gita, I'll say these 7 slokas where Bhagavan is commanding. But even with the spiritual depth, nothing like these 7 verses. So, we are on the verse where Bhagavan is commanding. Take this directly from Bhagavan as initiation. He says, lay down all the results of actions. Forget about the results, which is going to be good or bad or as per your expectation or not expected, or what you expected, or is it going to be 50% or 150% or 2000%? Effect, side effect, after effect of all the results of your actions. Forget about them. Drop them. Don't even have false hope. Means perverted hope. So drop all the false hope, perverted hopes, and relax from this feeling of ownership. I tell you, world's worst loosedom, I am creating a new word, loosedom, is the feeling of ownership. Any fellow feels the ownership. Let me describe. Ownership is formed without any bone structure by continuous action. Your actions are like flowers. Ownership is like a thread. If the ownership thread is used and actions are stitched and tied, it is ego, garland of ego. Never the real ownership happens in that way. Real ownership is flowers are arranged so thoroughly in such packed way, it looks like a garland without the thread. Is ownership. The ownership I feel, there is no separate thread of ownership running. Continuous actions performed so meticulously, perfectly, constantly creates the feeling as if all these flowers are looking like garland, but they are not tied. If there is a thread, it is false ego. In a normal man, he feels the ownership, I am doing, then does less action. That's why more thread is seen, less flowers are there. 25-meter thread, in the end and the beginning one flower. That is the garland all you fellows are wearing. Because the whole energy is spent on ownership. Thread is the ownership. A real ownership is constant actions done in perfection. Yogaha karmasu kauchalam. Constant actions performed in perfection, in continuum, creates a feeling of ownership for others, not for you, is real ownership.
కల్పతరు మీలోని కుండలిని శక్తిని తెలుసుకోగల ఒక ప్రత్యేక కార్యక్రమము కల్పతరు. పూర్తిగా ఒకరోజు జరిగే ఈ కార్యక్రమములో ఆరోగ్యకరమైన అద్భుతమైన మార్పును పొందగలరు. అవతారమూర్తి పరమహంస నిత్యానంద స్వామివారి ఆశీస్సులను ప్రత్యేకంగా పొందగల కార్యక్రమం కల్పతరు. కుండలిని అంటే ఏమిటి? కుండలిని అంటే ప్రతి ఒక్కరిలోనూ దాగి ఉన్న అద్భుత శక్తి. కుండలిని శక్తి ఒక ధ్యానోదయమైన గురుదేవుల దీక్షతో చైతన్యపరచవచ్చు. ఈ కుండలిని శక్తి మీ జీవితంలో అన్ని దశలలోనూ అభివృద్ధికరమైన మార్పులను తేగలిగే శక్తి. అది మీలో ఆరోగ్యాన్ని, ఐశ్వర్యాన్ని, విజయాన్ని, ఆనందాన్ని, ఆధ్యాత్మిక ధ్యానోదయాన్ని కలిగిస్తుంది. ప్రతి వారాంతములో కల్పతరు కార్యక్రమం బిడిది ఆశ్రమంలో నిర్వహించబడును. మమ్మల్ని సంప్రదించవలసిన చిరునామా నిత్యానంద ధ్యానపీఠం, నిత్యానంద నగర్, బిడది 562109, బెంగళూరు. ఫోన్ చేయవలసిన నంబరు 095500000550 లేదా 098185190701. మా వెబ్సైట్ www.nithyananda.org.
ब्रह्ममुरारिसुरार्चितलिङ्गं निर्मलभाषितशोभितलिङ्गं जन्मजदुःखविनाशकलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि नित्यानन्दलिङ्गम्.
ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यवपुतो दयिषवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुदते नमः या जयिषुः शिवतमा शिवं बभूव ते धनुः शिवा शरव्याया तवतया नो रुद्रमृडय या ते रुद्र शिवा तनोरघोर पापकाशिनी तया नस्तनुहा शन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिचागशीः या विशृङ्गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभष्ट्यस्तवे शिवाङ्गिरित्रतां गुरुमाहि पुंसेः पुरुषं जगत् शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्छा वदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगदयक्ष्मगुं सुमना असत् अद्य वोचदधिभक्ता प्रथमो दैव्यो ऋषगे अहेहश्च सर्वान् जम्बयन् सर्वाश्च यादुत्राण्यः असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुणपुतभभ्रस्व मङ्गलः ये चेमागुं रुद्र अमितो दिक्षु श्रुता सहस्रशो वै शागुं हेडयीमहे असव्यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उदैनं गोपा
But the ownership Arjuna is having is one flower in the beginning, one flower in the end, 25-meter thread. By the time you reach that, both flowers are withered away. Your ownership is flowerless garland. Drop that. Real ownership is felt by others by your continuous action. Perfection continuum. Before even taking cognizance of somebody's surrender, the first prima facie requirement is perfection. Before even taking somebody's surrender into cognizance, the prima facie requirement I look into is perfection. Feeling of ownership, which Arjuna is carrying, not only useless, dangerous. In feeling of ownership, actions are never tied properly. Please understand, 2-inch thick thread, rope cannot be used to make jasmine garland. The ego itself becomes so thick, jasmine cannot stay with it. And the ego cannot bend for action. Jasmine is too fragile. It's perfect, but too fragile. Your ego will hurt the action. Your feeling of ownership abuses the very fundamental of the action. Real feeling of ownership is felt by others by the perfection of your action, but never felt by you. Bhagavan gives the next command, having given up your affliction. Give up. A personality like Bhagavan, when he says Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva, Arjuna, still sitting with his long face and continue to let Bhagavan talk. Bhagavan is using his whole energy, finally giving a last word. Nirmamo Bhutva means without having fear about your higher identity, higher self, disrespecting your lower self. Unless you disrespect your lower identity, you will not catch your higher existence. If a child or a pet urinates on you, that you want to just get rid of it, clean yourself. Exactly. If you have the same mood towards your lower self and non-fear, not having fear about the higher self, happen to your higher self. Understand, you happening to your higher self, you making yourself available to your higher self is the essence. Be unavailable, lower self, available to your higher self, enter into the battle. Yudhyasva Vikatachvaraha. Understand, your everyday life is a battle. Take this as a direct initiation from Bhagavan. Lay down all the effect, side effect, after effect of actions. Don't carry the perverted, indirect, false, long hope. Relax from the iron chain feeling of ownership. Give up your affliction. Don't be afraid of the higher self. Disrespect the lower self. Enter into the life. Enter into the battle.